Hey there, Kyle. In this video, you're going to literally watch me watch you through your conducting of Philip Bliss. And remember, I wasn't there, so this is really genuine and genuinely my first time watching you. Actually, I may have watched this once, but I certainly haven't, I certainly didn't see it live. So we're going to talk about a number of things. I can do a little conducting. I'll show you some stuff on the score, and we'll just see what happens. Let's see how you do. You're a very lucky guy because you're tall, and I love how tall you're standing just to start. Would make sense to look at the clarinets here, right? You might give a quick look at the saxophones as well. Let's see how this goes. I want you to breathe like you're a tuba player, right? Like you're about to live in the low register for a while on some pedals, and that's how I want you to breathe, especially thinking about what these folks have to do, especially these guys. So that kind of breath. But the eye contact's great. And I'll make a big deal about wanting folks to maintain eye contact through the first. Kind of losing your pattern here, bud. Let's go back for a second. Love for you to maintain eye contact for at least the first 2 beats, and you do that. So let's go over there. Take a bit of breath. The wrist is turning over. See, when you go to 3, your wrist kind of turns this way. Just try and keep your wrist. Just think about the wrist leading, going this direction and this direction. 2, 3, 4. Appreciate the cue. Your elbows are pretty close to your body, so love to see you get out a little bit more. If you're conducting right now, that'll get better. That was the, oh yes, thank you for coming in, even though I didn't cue you, look. Yeah, elbows are a big thing here, boo, and your wrist turning over. But you're standing pretty still, which I really appreciate, because you're going to have a really good command. I mean, not only are your elbows close to your body, but your hands are close to your body. So if you think about this as air, you can get away for a little bit. Okay, so you've missed all those things. Let's go back for a second. So a couple things. I want you to think about, it's important where you look, not just so you can, and you've heard me say this in class, not just so you can connect with people, but so you can, the idea that you look at who you need to assess, okay? So it's real important here that you're looking at these horn players, right? Horns haven't come in for a while. I mean, that's, they don't have any, with the partials being as close as they are to, as close as the partials are to each other on horn, first entrances can be iffy. So now you're dealing with college music majors, but if you were working with school-age musicians with this, you might have a kiddo who was having a little bit of a confidence issue, especially on a first entrance. So you needing to look at that person, give them a cue with your eyes. You don't necessarily, it's not just, how you move your hands, but the cue with your eyes. And the thing that's important to make happen for this entrance to happen while here, the thing you can do is help breathe here, the kind of breath that you would want this person to take when they come in right here. So think about you breathing on beat 2. So maybe you're thinking, I'm going to look at him on beat 1, I'm going to breathe on beat 2, and I'm going to give him a nice cue on beat 3. Because you're going to assess a couple things here. You're going to assess this. You're going to assess, is this the right pitch? And you're probably going to assess the attack. Like, is it too much front? Is it the kind of, do you want it to sneak in? How do you want that? How do you want that to sound? And if you don't really have an opinion, then anything they do is okay, right? Or at least initially. So there's several things that you want to assess here about this entrance. So look at these folks and give the breath to help with that. Same thing is true, even kind of setting folks up here. This is the first entrance of the oboe, right? So when you're getting to this 5/4 bar, you really have to make a decision as to, do you want this to be 2 + 3? which I could buy. Do you want this to be 3 plus 2? Mm. 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 I mean, you have some options there. In some ways, I think it's a bit more convincing as 2 plus 3 because you've got, all these entrances, these moving ascending parts that are happening on beat 3. But quite honestly, you've got some, things descending, some counter melodic ideas, right, that are happening here. And maybe you want those things to come out. That would make sense. In some ways, these are in a higher register. So they're going to maybe more naturally come out. So you have some decisions to make here, right? In terms of the 5-4. Let's go back. Let's see how you handled that. Makes sense that you're looking here. Percentage of the flute. Important that you would look at them and breathe here as well, right? And that wrist turning over is the thing. Yeah, you're once you miss the 5-4 bar, I mean, it's important that even if you miss the 5-4 bar, you gotta feel where those other landmarks are in terms of pulse setting up meter. So can you feel 3 and 4 and 1? Can you feel where beat 1 is, right? And these accents coming on 2 and 4. Can you feel that? So you lost your pattern, but you gotta find it quick sooner. So found 3 and 4. And only you really know how prepared you were. I mean, I might have an impression, but subito, slightly slower, but suddenly, right? Slightly slower, but suddenly, slightly slower. Your eye contact will get better as you understand how the ensemble is situated, as you know the score better. You got a rallentando coming up. You're going to slow down. We're going to work on getting this elbow away from your body. Think about this is air here. Getting these hands a little bit away from your body. Think of creating some tension here. Wrist turning over. You don't need that big hitch coming into downbeat. So you kind of do that. Watch what you're doing coming into the downbeat. Watch what your shoulder does. And so I can appreciate in some ways you're trying to almost show the 8th note. You don't really need to do that. It's a movement that just doesn't look like the music. So try not to do that. And 1. So what I hope to see from you is some your wrists improve, getting your arms and your elbows away from your body, thinking about air, and your eye contact improving and your knowledge of the score as well. Interesting stuff here. Show an accent. Accent. 2, 1. Okay, so a couple things. So coming into this, you have some decisions you have to make. Anytime you're on the podium and you're teaching, you at least have to have a set of options that you're contemplating musically. So you've got a couple options going through here. We talked about the 5-4 bar, that you have some options as to whether or not that's 3 plus 2 or 2 plus 3. I think there's evidence that suggests both. I do think there's some stronger evidence for one over the other. But certainly in here going into 42, the fact that you have to show these accents that are happening, you've got accidentals. I mean, this is an interesting moment, right? That's why everybody had to conduct this in this class, this section through here. So showing the accents, the fact that you've got accidentals in here, almost there's a different character to this. There's some ominous things happening here. So you certainly have to negotiate the meter change, but you have to decide where we're gonna perceive the tempo change. Is it gonna be here, such that you'd have to prepare this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, right? So that you'd prepare so that these folks who play on beat 4, most especially those who are playing 16th notes, but certainly how long does this note last if I'm playing a quarter note, okay? Or, so if you think tempo change, if you want that to be perceptible here, fine, that would change how you would prepare all of that, how you would move in this. Right? And that's all teaching. That's you communicating to your students what you want. The other option you have here is that the tempo change would be perceptible here, right? With the way these quarter notes on beats 3 and 4 move, how long they are, the style in which they're initiated, okay? So if you wanted the tempo change to be perceived there, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to have to prepare beat 3, right? So your movement off of beat 2 is way different. You're going to have to look at folks. This is a totally different character. So legato with accents, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3. In fact, you probably don't even need to conduct beat 2. There's nothing happening there, right? There's no movement on beat 2. 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And it becomes a very different style. It's marcato. It's somewhat marcato. So it's got a heavy front with some space, right? It's marked. So some big things, Kyle. That wrist, getting your arms away from your body, more intentional eye contact, and in general, being better prepared for those meter changes. There's some things you just have to know how to navigate. Tough to be first, though. Tough to be first. And what I do love in particular, you're not bobbing at your knees. You're standing nice and tall, and that's great. Thanks, bud.